walk back to L.A. from my studios in Norman, Oklahoma, if the Redskins win their last 3 games of the season and finish 10-5-1 and are left out of the playoffs. How's that for a confirmation? I feel 100% confident in that. Let's get one more call in here real quick before we get to Sager. Evan was watching Sunday Night Football. He's in South Carolina, and he's on Fox Sports Radio. What's going on, Evan?
Well, thank you very much for being available here in South Carolina because I grew up in Jersey, and we watched the Giants game tonight in which Dallas learned a real tough lesson about going in there a little overconfident. They had so many ways to win tonight, but that cold weather and even with McManning trying to doing his best to give the game away. I mean, this division is playing so much better. That's really what I wanted to talk about tonight. Would you agree that they could have really not shown up this season? But I think even if they don't make the playoffs, talking about the Eagles and the Redskins, they're not going to be a pleasure to have to face them.
Yeah, but I think also, too, you even look at the Eagles and Arnie, they've had some good wins this year. Things are looking up for them. They've been awful on the road. They're 1-6 on the road this year. Carson Wentz, though, has shown, I think, some positives. But you look at that NFC East in that division, Cowboys at 11-2, Giants at 9-4, Redskins right there at 7-5-1. It's right there.
And we appreciate the call. Just one thing if you're a Giant fan, I wouldn't feel good about. I'm a Giant fan. I don't feel that good about the victory. I mean, it's 10-7, and they know you're playing a team that's 11-1, but I thought we should have been a big distance between us and the Cowboys. That was 10-7 when Eli was leading him down before he got the interception. Eli caught them a lot. I don't feel real good. I don't think I'm thinking. I don't feel real good. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm the complete opposite. Maybe that's just because what they were able to do defensively, and that's not to say that the Giants have been a bad defensive team this year. But I thought the Giants the Cowboys. I know he's getting away with whatever kind of golf I legit kind of moved the Giants up in my mindset of where I think they could end up during the playoffs. I think this is a team that could play the team. I mean, that's how impressed I was by tonight. You're telling me, whoa, slow down just a little bit, right? Look, slow down because, again, they were playing at home. Whenever you play at home like this in front of the entire spotlight, and you barely get to bed. Remember now, they were down 7-0. The Cowboys shot themselves in the foot. If they could move the ball a little bit, just a little bit, they would have went ahead. And did you see the sack that took about a field goal range, even though Doug Free picked it up those 10 yards where they could have attempted a field goal, but they called them down by contact. They made a lot of mistakes today. I'm talking about the Cowboys. I'm not happy with the final score, though, with only being 10-7. 877-99 on Fox, 877-99-663. Now, we're off to a late start of the phone, so you can keep those coming. Or, here's another thing I'd like to kind of get into, and that's the coaching carousel. How much movement will take place? We'll talk about it in 60 seconds. But first, Odell Beckham with a 61-yard touchdown reception. Late third quarter, Giants beat Dallas 10-7, ending the Cowboys' 11-game winning streak. Giants have won at Dallas on opening night, each team with 3 turnovers. We're brought to you by Assassin's Creed, starring Michael Fassbender, Marianne Cotillard, and Jeremy Irons. It's opening in theaters December 21st from 20th Century Fox. Assassin's Creed, a thrill ride you won't want to miss this holiday season. Tampa Bay won its 5th straight game, 16-11 over New Orleans. Green Bay routed Seattle 38-10 as Russell Wilson threw 5 interceptions. The Jets scored 11 late points in regulation and then beat the Niners in overtime 23-17. Atlanta all in the Rams in LA 62-14. College basketball, number 7 North Carolina came back at home to Tennessee 73-71. Florida State beat number 21 Florida 83-78. USC 9-0 after ripping Pepperdine tonight in the late game. I'm Steve Zay.
Arnie Spaniard. I'm Chris Blank. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at StinkinGenius1. That's STINKIN. Genius in the number 1. I'm at Blank Show. And everybody should be following us at Fox Sports Radio as we recap pretty wild Week 14, I guess. You know, Arnie, real quick, before we get back to the phone, I know we want to talk some Cowboys with Blair in Orange County, but I do want to tell this team real quick. Are you finding in this pipeline of Rex Ryan being out tomorrow from the Jason Office for report CBS Sports?
I don't see how what is that going to accomplish? I mean, we're still in a playoff run. I don't see what's going on here. I think what's going to in regular best, but I don't see how this is going to make things any better. No, I don't find that for a like that. I think that maybe, I don't know football, but I don't know why they do it. And the performance, they don't seem like those type of owners. They're just going to do for a short time. So it's the last thing they want to do is like finding a head coach. With 3 weeks left, I think they can go ahead and let it play out. That's the best. Fire Rex isn't going to get it done. I think it's playing out. It's going to win that next time of year. That's why number 1 in the whole NFL. The performance over the Buffalo Sabres. They're buying the performance. It's not even on stuff. He gave like $100 million and took a $100 million. He bought the Sabres. He bought the Bills. He got out of line. The social business is going to take the off doing all that stuff there. So, you know, I don't think he needs to fire Rex right now. He'll take care of it after the season if that's the way he wants to roll it. I mean, come on, now. You're in the playoffs. Yeah, and I don't know, maybe his attitude, the abrasiveness of it. I don't know, because I saw that, and it was funny because did we have this report like after week 4 or week 3, and then suddenly the Bills put together some wins, and now here we are wrapping up week 14, and it's the story that's reported before this day even really gets going. I mean, we had 2 major stories before we kicked off. We had January that the NFL did everything they could to make sure that they let everyone know they had it under control, and then you have the Rex Ryan being out in Buffalo if they got boat races. You know, I watched a lot of that game going. They did really get focused. I mean, they had an opportunity late. After the worst onside kick maybe in the history of the NFL. I could have done a better job than that. But I know we had to do to try to behind the leg kick earlier when it fell off the tee, which was awful for the Steelers. But this was like a scalded golf shot. This was, dare I use the word, this was a shank. I mean, he just flat out missed it. So I'm with you. I don't know what that's called. All right, let's go to Orange County. Blair, you're next up on Fox Sports Radio. What's going on tonight, Blair?
Oh, not too much. Can I rattle that Arnie's cage a little? Can I just rattle his cage a little?
Rattle
I'm sure
away.
he's got to be happy that Dark Prescott lost tonight. Somebody please be happy.
In a mandatory life sentence. They went with manslaughter with Will Smith and attempted manslaughter with his wife, which still could put him in jail for, up to 60 years, but is more described as a crime of passion, that sudden passion made him lose his self-control. So still a severe charge and still found guilty in the case.
Mike, just in general, I mean, now with this case going on and just the turmoil that it built just in the New Orleans areas from one of their own, most New Orleans, they kind of look at the Saints football players or the Pelicans, guys that are representing them, kind of one of their own. Now we have 2 incidents happen with 2 football players out there. What's the mood of just, the people in the New Orleans area with all of this going on?
It's really tough, Donovan, because New Orleans has this reputation, and it's not just, that one area of town, the bad area of town you don't go into. I mean, this has spilled out into, Will Smith was shot in a popular area of town at a time of night when a lot of people could have been out. Joe McKnight, it was the middle of the day in a popular area. And obviously we don't know the facts of all cases and how all the parties were acting in these instances and everything, but it's a town already known for having this, it's got so many great things about it, but it's also known for this gun violence. And to now have this high-profile stigma of 2 of these famous, well-known, beloved football players being gunned down in the city, it's horrible for the reputation. It came out in the closing statement. The district attorneys implored the jury, take back your city. It's your job to stop this. say this isn't allowed. I mean, it was right there as a big part of this case.
It seemed like to me, Mike, reading on some of the stuff with the case, that from Cardell Hayes' side, they were trying to maybe take a hit at Will Smith, the person hey, obviously he was a great football player, had done a lot of good things off the field. They were trying to say, hey, look, he wasn't this pristine type athlete. He had been drinking. He hit Cardell's car first, sped away, and then that he had a group of guys in the car who approached Cardell and his passenger, and they felt like they were going to get beat up. And then supposedly he thought that maybe Will was going to go back to his car and get a gun. It seemed like that was kind of like their defense, so to speak.
Well, there's no question, and they didn't necessarily try to disparage his character in his everyday life and say this guy's not the great guy you think he is. The defense attorney made the point several times today that he may have, he did great things for this city and he has great character, but he was not acting like himself on that night. And look, a lot of eyewitnesses, neutral eyewitnesses, admitted that when they were watching this fight take place on the street, they would have said the aggressors were Will Smith and the passenger of his vehicle, who actually everybody painted as the most aggressive, was the man who jumped out of the passenger seat of Will Smith's vehicle. But what the state successfully argued was, well, you can call them the aggressors in this shouting argument. You can call them the aggressors in this, belligerent, shouting match, street fight. Potentially was going to become a fist fight. But ultimately, the man who crashed into Will Smith's car because he was pursuing him after that first hit and run you referenced, and the man who got out with the gun and the man who fired a gun, they successfully painted him as the actual aggressor in this situation. But that's what was at stake. Was they were definitely trying to say there was even a moment where one of the witnesses almost yelled out directly at Raquel Smith and said, on his own demise, and they definitely tried to pin the blame of things escalating that night on Will Smith.
The tough part about the whole deal with Will and knowing him personally, you just didn't see that other side of him. I mean, we all as football players say, especially when you have your family in the car and you get into a fender bender, the first thing you can do is go into protection mode. Was it more in that aspect of it for his wife's sense of just being involved in this and what she's seen?
It was probably a little bit of it all, Donovan. Obviously, we'll never know everything, but they went through the whole day of how much he had to drink, and his blood alcohol content was 3 times the legal limit, and they had witnesses testifying that the things him and the others in his car were shouting, and Raquel herself admitted she was trying to hold him back and saying, don't do this, David, we can call the police, think of your kids, this isn't worth it, getting into a fight. So protection mode because his wife was in the backseat, anger that somebody just slammed into the back of his car. Who knows what words were being exchanged and making this argument escalate. That's all what was going on that night. But obviously, the step that takes it from that to murder is what the jury was tasked with deciding.
So let's talk about sentencing here. When does Cardell Hayes, when is he going to face sentencing?
I believe they set a date for 60 days out for an investigation to be done, is how they termed it. And then the judge gets to determine sentencing after that investigation. I think they set it for February 17th off the top of my head, but it's a date that could be changed. But yeah, it's up to 40 years on the count against Will Smith. It's up to 20 years on the count against Raquel Smith, and then the judge will get to decide those. So he's still obviously looking at a very long sentence if the judge reaches those highest measures.
All right. Well, Mike, we really appreciate it. Again, the big news is Cardell Hayes found guilty of manslaughter in the shooting death of former New Orleans Saints defensive end Will Smith. Mike Triplett, he's been joining us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. He's our ESPN NFL Nation Saints reporter. Mike, we appreciate the information. Thank you very much.
All right, you guys have a great night.
All right, coming up next, it is Last Stand. You're going to hear from Odell Beckham Jr., you're going to hear from Mike Tomlin, and you got to hear from Pac-Man Jones. All of that and more. It's McNabb Custer, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app.
Is Sunday night's and the odds
odds and beat Dak and the Cowboys. What does that mean for the playoff picture? Donovan McNabb has the latest Monday on Mike and Mike, 9:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Monday on Mike and Mike, NFL Week 14 recaps with Tom Waddle, Lewis Riddick, and Donovan McNabb. Plus Bulls guard Dwayne Wade and NBC's Al Michaels joins in. Monday on Mike and Mike, 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
This Friday.
The Empire's building a weapon capable of destroying an entire planet. We have to capture the plans if there's any hope of destroying it.
The most powerful weapon.
Nothing will stand in the way of the Empire.
This is our chance to make a real difference.
Like 10 men for like 100.
May the Force be with us.
Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Rated PG-13, maybe inappropriate for children under 13. In theaters Friday.
Bowl season kicks off Saturday with a triple header. Coverage of the Gildan, New Mexico Bowl begins at 2 Eastern, followed by the Wacom Media Communion Bowl and the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. It's bowl season on ESPN Radio. Mike and Mike.
Brian Clark, do you believe Jim Bob Cooter will not get a head coaching job because his name is Jim Bob Cooter? I think people enjoy saying his name, so for me, I don't think the reason you don't get it.
Do you think anybody that interviews him is going to say, we'd like you to pick one of those two first names? Go with Jim or go with Bob?
He's Jim Bob Cooter. You should call him by the whole name all of the time.
Yes.
We're standing by for a press conference. Jim Bob Cooter will be here shortly.
Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
This is not a playoff game. It just feels like one. Two of the best teams in the AFC collide. On Monday Night Football, Joe Flacco and the first-place Baltimore Ravens. Tom Brady and the all-everything New England Patriots. December, all in it. Absolute best. Speed of play is turned up a notch. Monday Night Football, Ravens, Patriots. Monday at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN. No other night is Monday night.
Monday on Mike and Mike, the Pack dominates Seattle. Le'Veon dashes through the Bills' snow, and the latest on Tannehill's ACL. Plus the Giants defy the odds and beat Dallas. Plus a preview of Ravens Patriots on Monday Night Football with Tom Waddle, Lewis Riddick, and Donovan McNabb. And
The Louisiana jury has found the man who fatally shot retired Saints star Will Smith guilty of manslaughter.
the latest Monday on Mike and Mike starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
The college football playoff is here. Who's in? Alabama,
Clearly the best team in college football.
Clemson,
Looks like it's on a mission right now.
Ohio State,
Can match up with anybody in college football.
and Washington
They've been one of the most dominant teams in the country.
are in the college football playoff semifinals. The Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. Saturday, December 31st on ESPN.
This is your ticket to sports radio in North Louisiana. 50,000 watt ESPN 97.7 FM.
That's Bob Papa, WFAN, the fan there in New York City. Odell Beckham Jr. going to the house. He had 4 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown. That 61-yarder to the biggie. This is McNabb and Custer here on ESPN Radio. The ESPN app presented by Progressive Insurance. Of course, creators of the Name Your Price tool. Choose a range of coverage options and pick the price that works for you. Brian Custer alongside Donovan McNabb. Giants beat the Cowboys 10-7. Here's Odell Beckham after the victory.
Can you describe what was said?
Like 42,000 on average. 42 something is what I saw last night. Right, average at Century. And the next highest is Orlando, which is like 30,000. But there's 12,000 more fans on average than any other league.
Than anything. They're the stalwart of their league. And I have said, I said this before, and I got Denholm to acknowledge it because he's our soccer guy. I call the MLS the global version of Japanese baseball. It's not minor league. I don't think it's not. It's
I would say that the MLS is more equivalent to like the KHL and the Swedish Premier League, or whatever the Swiss league is called, and that's the better comparison. And we can't understand that because we watch this league in our own home country, the MLS. But I have to say, put yourself in a European hockey fan's shoes, where they watch the NHL like we watch the Premier League, except they love hockey more than we love soccer.
That's fair. Okay, so then the final point that we got to run. The final point is Monday on Seattle Sports Radio. They're talking about the Seahawks lost to Green Bay.
Yes.
Their team just won a championship. It's the Seahawks.
The NFL is king, and it's the Seahawks.
That's Scott Steinberg. He's got overtime on many of these NBC sports radio stations, although I don't know a station that airs the show that wouldn't air overtime. How's that? I go out on a limb just to say that. I'm Seth Everett. We'll wrap things up in just a moment here on NBC Sports Radio.
Agree. We'll be right back. WWL. Not available in all states.
Hey, you two. What brings you to the mall?
We're just checking on our robot.
Your robot?
Yeah, our recent Irby's Rodeo robot. Diane and I became franchisees last month.
And couldn't be happier. It serves premier frozen yogurt creations to customers in 60 seconds. And the yogurt is delicious.
Yep, our customers absolutely love it. That's it over there.
Whoa, that's incredible. People really do love your Froyo robot. So, you own this?
Sure do. Reese and Irby's Froyo robots are available across the country, and it's super easy. Reese and Irby's provided us with everything we needed. They even help you secure amazing locations. Movie theaters, grocery stores, college campuses, theme parks. They make any location a sensation.
And everyone loves frozen yogurt. That's incredible. How do I get a Froyo robot of my own?
You just go to FroyoRobots.com and enter promo code 9494. But hurry, because locations and robots are going fast.
Froyo.
Yeah, FroyoRobots.com. Promo code 9494. You know what scares most people? Spiders, heights, public speaking. You know what scares me? Inventory. I find the prospect terrifying. I've got goosebumps just thinking about it. That's why we use Granger. Granger's inventory management solutions make sure our facility has exactly what we need when we need it. No wonder. No goosebumps. When it comes to inventory management, Granger's got your back. Call clickgranger.com or stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico. Let's talk about power. To illustrate this, allow me to tell you a story about how I moved a tow truck 25 miles using only my index finger. I was stranded with a flat tire. I opened the Geico app. Then, with a few taps of my finger, I beckoned emergency roadside assistance and a tow truck to my car. I invite you all to unleash the full potential of your fingertips with the Geico app. Thank you.
I just love it when people work hard to make my life better. And I'm talking about my Sleep Number bed and everybody over at Sleep Number Beds. You know, I love my Sleep Number bed because I can set it to the ideal level of comfort and firmness that I desire. Right now, it's in the high 90s because my Sleep Number is because I just had knee surgery and I need some support. But if somebody were sharing the bed with me, they could set it as cushy as they like, and we could both use Sleep IQ technology to make sure that we're using the right settings. But it gets even better because now Sleep Number has a Comfort Fit pillow. It's a unique fill of memory foam with premium down alternative fibers, so it keeps it